Thank you, sir. Mr. Robinson, could you do the roll call, please, sir?
Alderman Klein. Here. Alderman Bledsoe. Here. Alderman Geis.
Here.
Alderman Bostic.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Dupree.
Here.
Alderman Young.
Here.
All right, first item on the agenda. Well, first off, I'd like to welcome back Alderman Dupree. Certainly happy to see you here and in good health, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. It's by the grace of God I am.
All right, item number 1 on the agenda is the vote on the municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 2 on your agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F, and I'd like, if the board is okay with it, I'd like to move item G to executive session.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second, sir.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to motion that we approve the claims docket for general fund, $260,112.02. Economic development fund, $6,210.78. Utility fund, $29,178.58, for a total docket of $295,501.38.
We have a motion by Alderman Johnson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 4 on the agenda is special guests and presentations. We are extremely happy tonight to have with us Ms. Joy Gideon, the wife of the late Mr. Larry Noble Gideon Sr. At this time, I would like to read a proclamation from the city acknowledging his services free of charge, I might add, all these years as an election commissioner, and for all he and his family have done to make Horn Lake a better place to live. Whereas Mr. Larry Noble Gideon Sr. was born February the 29th, 1948 in Paris, Tennessee, and was adopted by the late Noble and Inez Gideon of Memphis, Tennessee. Whereas Mr. Gideon worked 44 years for the Illinois Central Canadian National Railroad as the material supervisor and was chairman of the Horn Lake Election Commission. Whereas Mr. Gideon was a believer in Jesus Christ and faithful member of Compelled Church, Dream Center campus, where he served as a deacon. Illinois Central Model Railroading, his church, and his family were his greatest passions. He served our country honorably in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Whereas Mr. Gideon was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, the Vichy Siva Medal, and the Commendation Medal. Whereas Mr. Gideon was preceded in death by his siblings, Betty Haywood, James Alexander, Martha, Joanne, and his brother-in-law. Whereas Mr. Gideon leaves behind his loving wife of 39 years, Miss Joy Gideon, 5 children, Jennifer Jones, married to Gerard, Kimberly Price, married to Landon. Katie Terry, married to James. Wesley Gideon, married to Tanya. Larry Noble Gideon Jr., married to Ashley. He leaves a sister, Mary Gunn, and a brother, Bobby Archer, married to Connie. And whereas Mr. Gideon leaves behind his 12 grandchildren, Addison Tucker, Mackenzie Glover, Eli Glover, Caitlin Raines, Jesse Urban, Hayden Holmes, Brian Gideon, Brady Jones, Emma Jones, Luke Terry, Milda Gideon, Maya Gideon, and 3 great-grandchildren, Jackson Tucker, Brooklyn Tucker, one on the way, and numerous nieces and nephews. Now therefore, I, Alan B. Latimer, Mayor of the City of Horn Lake, and the Board of Aldermen, do hereby proclaim September the 21st, 2021, as Larry Noble Gideon Senior Day in Horn Lake, Mississippi, and urge all to join in paying tribute to the many accomplishments of our beloved friend and election chairman, Mr. Gideon. Miss Joy, will you step forward, ma'am? I'll come down there, Miss Joy. Letter B, under number 4, is a proclamation for Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Whereas approximately 1 in every 691 children are born with Down syndrome, representing approximately 1,000 individuals in the Mid-South. And whereas recent advances in Down syndrome research have proven that early intervention, education, social support, therapeutic care, and positive public attitudes improve each individual's chance of living an independent, productive, and satisfying life. And whereas people with Down syndrome possess a wide range of abilities and are active participants in educational, occupational, social, and recreational circles of the community. And whereas individuals with Down syndrome should have equal opportunity to achieve the universally desired goals of self-fulfillment, pride in their achievements, inclusion in their community, and reaching their fullest potential. And whereas the mission of the Down Syndrome Association of Memphis and the Mid-South is to empower and support people with Down syndrome and their families. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Alan Latimer, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as Down Syndrome Awareness Month and encourage citizens to work together to promote and respect the inclusion of individuals with Down syndrome and to celebrate their accomplishments and contributions. And further, I encourage Horn Lake residents to support the Down Syndrome Association of Memphis and the Mid-South in their work with families, schools, healthcare professionals, and governments to help create opportunities, raise awareness, and facilitate solutions for those valued members of our community. All right, moving on down. We're on number 5, letter A. Mr. Barber, please.
Mayor and Board, there are 4 items on the planning agenda tonight. The first one is case number 2039 RZ, Sage Creek Plan Unit Development. This is a proposed rezoning. You have a hard copy of the master plan in front of you, and it's also going to be on the screen up here. Mayor, what I would like to do, since the project is large and somewhat complex, if it's all right, I would like to just guide you through the master plan, pointing out several key points, and then describe the recommendation of the Planning Commission to you after that, if that's all right. Order.
Yes, sir. Is that all right with all the members of the board?
Mr. Mayor, this is a public hearing, so.
All right, this is a public hearing. Declare it now open. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir. The Sage Creek Plan Unit Development came before Horn Lake in 2007, I believe it was. So it was originally proposed in the same, essentially the same manner that it's coming to you tonight, with a few variations on the details. The site consists of 149 acres. There are 329 lots proposed on the let's call it 150 acres. And then there's about a 6-acre commercial area, and I will show you that on the site plan in just a moment. There's also a very large section of common area that's a part of a drainway. So as we scroll down through the first few pages, there's introductory material to the plan in summary, sort of summary fashion. There's a general statement of what they're doing on page number 2. And that's essentially what I stated, the 329 lots on 150 acres, including about a 6-acre commercial space. The uses, as you scroll down, you will see, but go back up one, Jim, and all of this is simply permitted uses, and essentially that can be summarized that in the commercial area, the uses are confined to the C4 category, which is the most restrictive commercial category, and Horn Lake requires the most detailed planning. And then in the residential area, there's essentially homes and accessory buildings associated with homes permitted there. As you move to page 4 of your master plan, you will see a chart. Back up one. Right here. I think we're on two different plans, but the information will be similar. There's a chart here that details the quantities, the land use quantities, the open space, the commercial area, and so forth. You'll notice that there's about 35 acres of common area. And as you scroll, the one on the screen is their original plan. We had to have some revisions made to it. The one before you will have some red text associated with it. Those are some of the comments that were made after the first Planning Commission meeting. As we scroll on down to the first map, you will see the site where it's located. This is Goodman Road. This is Highway 301. Willow Point, you're going to hear a final for Willow Point subdivision is right along in here in just a little bit. This is right next door. This is actually the site or was associated with some of the planning for the Circle G Ranch some time back. There was a golf course proposed on this site, and then later the first Sage Creek plan came up in 2007. Since it was never activated or no one ever constructed it, it simply became void. And so they're resurrecting the Sage Creek Master Plan on this site tonight. And as you move forward, you will see the site in a little bigger detail, its relationship. This is Walmart right over here, Aldi's right here. So you'll see the site just before you get to 301 on the right. And then we can scroll forward till we get to the first drain. I believe you're going to have, come on, as it catches up. Now this is oriented a little differently than the previous map. So this is Goodman Road right here. So you're looking north off the top of the side of the right side of the page is north. All of this drains down in this area, and so these drainways are proposed mostly to be left out as common open space in these areas. These yellow lines represent the ridges or the high spots. So as we scroll to the next site, you can keep going, Jim. That's just a soils map. There's the site again. Okay, this will illustrate the first actual layout of the site itself. So again, we have Goodman Road on the left side of the sheet. North is on the right side of the sheet. And this provides you with the layout. So that drainway, stormwater path is right in through here. You'll see the streets enter. They're sort of curvilinear streets. They connect to the west to Holly Ridge, I believe it is, and then to Willow Point, which is, as I mentioned, is going to come up before you in just a few minutes for final approval. And then there are stub outs to the east. There should be two. And then there's a stub out to the north. And we, as you scroll on down, another few maps, you'll see sort of a color. They put some color to it so you can kind of see where the green space or the open space is. This frontage on Goodman Road is the commercial area. I'm on page 15 of your master plan at your tabletop. And again, you can see the layout. I don't know that any commentary is required. This is the way they have proposed the layout. The lot sizes are a minimum of 10,000 square feet and 60 feet in width. That's their minimums. Now, some of them will go up higher than that, but you can expect that lots predominantly, probably 80% of them or more, will be 10,000 square feet. So as you scroll on through the plan, we can begin to see additional information that just provides a little more detail. This one we can stop. This indicates where sidewalks are to be, and you'll note that they're on both sides of the street and in the coves is the way they have it illustrated. That's on your plan, page 19 in your plan. Now the next page was one of the reasons, one of the comments. Well, this was held over from the first Planning Commission meetings for a number of reasons. One was more information on the drainage and how the drainways were to work. A second reason was to get more detail on the common open space plan. So as you scroll down to the next sheet, you will see that what we had presented to us looked nice. It had various pieces of equipment associated with it, but we didn't know where it was going, how many of what facility, how that would be constructed. We had no detail whatsoever. So the developer detailed that, and on your page 21, you will see the detail of it. Go back, stay on your page, Jim. You will see that they have dotted that map. you'll see numbers associated with these pieces of equipment, and they're located at various spots throughout that common area. I do want to call your attention to this. The commentary on the playground equipment would be on the lower left-hand corner of the picture there. This says this is not a guaranteed amenity. So you take note of that you have a picture, but there's no commitment to install that in the development. And then as you scroll on down, we ask for some additional fence detail. You'll see it in your master plan on your page 23 at your tabletop for fencing detail and how some of this rural aesthetic would be achieved. That is a sort of a, well, it's not sort of, it is a summary of the master plan that's before you. Now, one of the primary, and some of the comments, one of the primary issues that we encountered and we discussed were the home plans. And I think, does your plan, is that the end of your plan? Yeah, okay. So these were the home plans that were submitted with the plan unit development. Now, in 2007, this was proposed as a Reeves-Williams development. And there was comment in the record that the city did not feel or determine, the city determined that the Reeves-Williams homes did not fit the city's design character for this area. And it was recommended that they generate home designs of a higher character, not necessarily more expensive, but better designed homes from the exterior. And by the way, the homes proposed in this plan are 1,800 square foot heated minimums. So these were the plans that were submitted. I looked at the record. I looked at their plans. These are D.R. Horton plans. And I'm familiar with them. I've dealt with them in other places in the county. I determined that these did not meet, so City of Horn Lake has single-family home design standards. I determined that these did not meet those standards. I determined, I'm giving you my opinion, that this one did. So we had a conversation about the home plans after that. And we had a second set of home plans submitted. And if you could pull up the city minutes, the Planning Commission minutes now, I'll describe the Planning Commission's actions and recommendations to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. So as we go all the way. All right, so this was a staff report which essentially summarized the master plan. And as you scroll down, I would just go straight to the homes because that's one of the key issues. Those were some of the records of the 2007 situation. Okay, these were the second set of home plans that were submitted. And with the exception of the garage sticking way out in front of the house, these home plans do meet the design character expressed in the Horn Lake Code. However, the developer or the builder of these homes, the company is known as Meridian, says these homes will be carriage load homes. They won't be snout homes with the garage to the street. They'll be carriage load. And we have they come in to the side. So what you're looking at, this would be a wall and you'd come into the side of the garage. So the Planning Commission heard all these matters. Now go to the next one. At the Planning Commission hearing, these homes, here's a carriage load right there. So you come into the side. So all these would be carriage load. And the Planning Commission heard this. I thought we were only presenting these homes to the Planning Commission, but the Horton Homes came to the representatives of D.R. Horton came to the Planning Commission and wanted the next set of homes, Jim, included in the approval. And that's the same ones that we had from more or less the first go-around. So the Planning Commission heard this. This should be documented in your minutes. It essentially, after the developer spoke on behalf of the plan, the Planning Commission recommended approval of Sage Creek, but with that first set of homes, with the Meridian homes, but not this particular set of homes because of the design character and the lack of compliance with the Horn Lake standards. That is, I think that more or less, that does conclude my presentation. You have a recommendation, so the drainage matters have been satisfied to, at this stage in the development. And the engineers here can speak to that. They addressed the matter of the open space plan, telling us what equipment goes where. But I did call your attention, you can't count the playground equipment in that. And then there was one other minor detail. They say a stream buffer will be established adjacent to any jurisdictional streams, but there's no footage requirement. So I'm suggesting that be a 50-foot buffer. I don't think that's a problem because most all of it's in the common area. So the developer addressed all those things. The Planning Commission has recommended approval with the first set of home plans, not the second set of home plans, and that's what's before the mayor and Board of Aldermen tonight. And I can answer any questions to that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Barber?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Johnson.
Mr. Barber, is this the first or second?
Those are the second ones.
Second.
Those are the ones that the Planning Commission said were inappropriate, and they were keying off of the other homes already in Willow Point. And the Horn Lake has, I did not know this till I began interim work. You have single-family design standards. It says the garage needs to be recessed, and you can take a key from surrounding development for the character and so forth. And there are other elements to it. But these are the second set, unapproved, and if you'll back up, Jim, those are the ones that are approved.
Mayor, I have a question.
Alderman Dupree.
Since this has not been approved through the Planning Commission, and you said it's not approved, it doesn't go with the standards of Horn Lake. Why are we looking at it now?
You have a recommendation, because I think they're going to ask you to shift the Planning Commission's recommendation, I think.
I could make it short. I mean, why would we vote on something that hasn't been through the Planning Commission?
It has been through.
Right, but they denied it. So why don't they do something about it and go back before the Planning Commission before they come here?
You could certainly direct them that way. What I'm doing is bringing you the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Right.
So, yes.
That's why we have a Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Have to go through them first.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Goss.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. The Planning Commission did approve it.
Yes.
But with that set of houses,
Yes,
not the other.
that's correct. You have a recommendation for approval
So it did get
with
approved.
these homes.
Okay. I got just a couple of questions. In the green space areas where it shows preservation area, are those ponds or little lakes? Or
Those are potentially ponds or retention areas. I don't know if they would be wet or not, but they would be for the purposes of stormwater control. And I assume they'll engineer them in detail when they actually start engineering the site.
And then on the west side, in between where the Willow Point and the Holly Ridge subdivision is, there's a little small one that I noticed was green, a little green lot. Is that more parkland?
Yes, sir, and you'll see a number 1 in there. That means they intend to make that a little picnic area.
Okay. I was just curious what that was.
There may be a drainage structure. I think there's some kind of drainage structure on the other side of it, to the west of it there.
Okay.
I'd have to ask Vince on that, but yes, that is green space. So,
At the planning commission meetings, did anybody from the public come in and speak on this project?
I believe Mr. Francis J. Miller might have spoken on it.
Okay, but anybody
No,
against
no,
the
I don't,
project?
no, there was no public opposition to the project, no,
Thank you.
sir.
Does
This-
anyone
this is
else
a-
have any questions? Alderman Bledsoe.
Mr. Bob, does this meet our tree city ordinance that we have without leveling all the trees and we don't have any?
That is a part of the recommendations. I didn't go through them in detail, but on the list of the planning commission recommendations is they have to comply with our tree mitigation ordinance. And I don't know what that entails yet. They certainly can't start taking down trees until they apply for that mitigation ordinance and we go through that process.
Not supposed to.
Not supposed to, no, sir.
Would this handle all the stormwater from Ravenwood coming over that way?
I'll defer to Vince on that one.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Over there, we have a drainage problem that we've been discussing for a long time. That water comes and then it goes across Goodman Road, and I think it goes right into this, what will be a subdivision. It'd be going north. Would it handle all that water coming that way?
I'll have to look at that a little bit closer, Alderman, to see exactly where that water does go, but, if it's the Ravenwood comes through here, it's handling it now, if that's your question.
Well, it's going out into the woods or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you start putting concrete down and stuff, it makes a little bit of difference, and
That's right. And that
that's the main thing. I don't want another thing happen like we've got going on now. So, planning ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's what he was referring to earlier about a potential retention pond there, a detention pond, so.
And the retention pond, are they gonna keep them up, Mr. Bob, or is
They-
who's gonna maintain this from now on?
They have proposed a homeowners association to maintain all this common area. And that's who they're proposing to maintain the common area, which is where the drainage structures will be. I might also note that in the master plan, there is one clause that says in the event of the failure of an association, they would grant the right for the city to collect a special tax on that area to fund it. I'm pretty sure that's not doable under the law, I'm guessing. Pretty certain it's not.
Mayor, it's a lot easier said than done. There is a procedure for the mayor, for the board to do that, but they would have to devise a project and give public notice. And if more than 50% of the lot owners in that neighborhood objected, the city could not do it as a special assessment project. So it sounds good and it sounds easy, but it's not that easy.
Alderman Bledsoe.
And the last thing, these playgrounds and stuff have to come up to handicap accessibility and all that, right? And they cannot be built like out of wood, because I think they told them you couldn't build it anymore because of the splinters and all that. So it just can't be wood.
I'm not familiar with those specs. I'm agreeing with you. They are showing wood structures in their plan. But they would have to meet whatever the current standard is for that equipment.
Years ago, when I was park director, we went through that problem. We had to do plastic instead of wood, because we had some was going to be donated, and they wouldn't let us because they said it wouldn't meet the requirements. And I don't know since then to now what the requirements are.
Yes.
I'd check into that because I don't want to get hung with that.
Yes.
That's all I got, Mayor.
Anyone else have any? Alderman Young.
Mr. Bob, back there on that part, back here on this back, I know there was some discussion about these houses being somewhat smaller. Do you remember that conversation?
I don't recall that conversation. They have to be 1,800 minimum square feet.
Are we still talking about a 8-foot fence across here to separate from that?
I do recall from reading the record in 2007, there was a discussion about those homes, but in this proposal, they're all 1,800 square feet. And then, I'm sorry, your second
The
question?
fence, there should be a fence across there from this trailer park to this.
Yes, sir.
Is that?
Yes, sir. We'll include that in there.
Okay, that's
Yes, sir.
good. The other thing, who drew this up? Are you out there?
Yes, sir.
This is the way you do this. Y'all did a good job. So what you need to do now is go to the rest of these developers and have a 101 how to propose a project in Horn Lake. You did a really good job on this. I'm not going to vote for it. I'm just messing with you.
Anyone else? Alderman Bostic. Bledsoe. Alderman Bledsoe.
The one thing I forgot to ask, Mr. Bob, between the houses, are there supposed to be X number of feet?
5 feet, 5-foot side yards.
So you're talking about 10 feet?
Yes.
Between houses?
Yes, sir.
Is that being taken care of?
It will be when they pull permits. Yes, sir. That's what
Okay,
they're proposing is.
I talked a little bit with the fire chief one day, and we were concerned about it being, one catch on fire, all of a sudden this is on fire, and you got a whole row of them.
Right. I think I sent this plan. Did I send the plan? Yeah, Chief looked at it, and they are 5 foot and 5 foot setbacks.
Yeah, I met with, building official called me on it first, Charles. They will have to use some non-combustible materials when they build it that close
Right.
on those sides. So that material, and it has to be less, can't have a lot of windows or open. May not can have any on there where the houses are joining each other.
Right.
Due to the fire spread.
And it's proposed at all masonry construction.
Yeah,
Although
and-
in their plan, they proposing, they don't want to do that, but the Meridian plans are all masonry construction.
Yeah, and they'll have to have some fire rated protection between
Yeah.
where the two houses come up that close together.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any questions?
One more.
Alderman Young.
There is one thing I meant to ask. Alderman Bostic, or Mr. Bledsoe's correct about the ADA. On the second thing, the sidewalks are on both sides, which is great. Thank you. Are they ADA accessible at the corners, the ramps with the yellow? Because, those little buttons on there, y'all know what those are for, right? They have two purposes. One, so a person doesn't slip, and second, so a blind person knows they're coming up on it. Well, you're the one financing the darn thing, though. I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. So I appreciate it. If that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it needs to be. So y'all are setting the standard. It looks like it's going to be really nice. So thank you.
Does anyone else? I just have a question about the common area. The HOAs. This board and the boards before have had to deal with areas that were HOA controlled, and then the HOA folded up. And then it causes the city a lot of problems. Number one, the citizens want it cut. We can't do it until it gets, stricken off back to us. And then if someone will get injured on all this, wouldn't the city be liable for that? Mr. Billy?
Pitch that one to Billy.
No, Mayor, that's not city property.
I mean, if they did, if the HOA failed and it was stricken off and came back to the city.
Mayor, I think you're connecting a lot of dots to get to that point. I'm not sure the city would accept property from the state of Mississippi that is strictly a common area for a subdivision.
Well, that's what I was wanting to get to. I just wanted everyone to know that I personally don't think that if it was stricken back that we should accept it, because then we would be liable for maintaining it and liable for any injuries on it if we accepted it.
Absolutely, you're correct about that.
But I just wanted the board to please put that in your heads as we go along here. because I think it's a great looking project. Appreciate, like I said, it's really drawn out well. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Would y'all like to hear from the developers?
I have a question, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree, I'm sorry.
The last developer we spoke with about the HOA, they're willing to put up 4 years of funding for it. Would this developer do that?
We'll ask him, Alderman, when he comes out. Well, I have advised them that the HOA would be probably a discussion before the board, so I'm sure they're prepared to answer that.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Mr. Bob? Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Bob. Mr. Barger, would y'all like to come forward and talk to the board? We thank y'all for coming. Thank you for this really very professionally done. If you would give your name and address to Mr. Robinson so we have it for the minutes, please.
Yes, I'm Paul Frazier, PFMT Holdings, 5055 Pleasant View. I am the developer of Sage Creek. Real quick, I just wanted to introduce Dante Esposito, Ryan Vargo. Mr. Bob, I appreciate everything, by the way. What we'd like to do is we'd like to show a few comparisons with the houses because we've been going through a bunch of drafts with trying to get everybody on the same page with what we're trying to do. I know we have Meridian approved for these. They're great. They build on a lot of subdivisions we build now, and it works great. This is a huge subdivision. It's 362 lots. We need both builders in here to make this happen. But what I would like to show is I'd like to show you a few illustrations of the houses in Willow Point that are next door. Show some houses that we have built, literally both houses next door in Arlington. I've got some nice colored pictures. We just took some new ones today. Show you what you're looking at outside of just seeing the first renderings that we put in the book. So we've steadily been trying to make changes to the book to try to appease everybody. These houses are completely to the standards that are specified in your specs now or above. So he's passing out Willow Point now, so I just want to show you what's next door. There's no problems with what's next door, but we are trying to build up from next door. So I'll give y'all just a second to take a look. While everybody's taking a look at this, I want to let Dante tell you a little bit about D.R. Horton and what we can bring to the town.
Thank you, Paul. And I appreciate y'all's time this evening. I'm Dante Esposito. I'm the city manager for the Memphis Metro Division of D.R. Horton. We cover western Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, and North Mississippi. Now, I want to give you all a little bit of background for those of you who are not familiar with D.R. Horton. Nationally, we're the #1 builder based on closings. We have been since 2002. Since our inception in 1978, we've closed 850,000 homes, so it's not our first rodeo. We're in 30 states and 96 markets currently and growing. For our Memphis division, we've been around for about 2 full years now. This is our 2nd year. Maybe you've seen some of our communities, maybe not. The communities that we have done have been kind of a spot lot community, 30 lots, 50 lots. It was getting our foot in the water. We actually today closed on a deal with PFMT. We've been partners with them since we've been here, and we've had a great working relationship with them. That deal is going to be our first master plan community in this area. And I just want to give you a little oversight of what a master plan community really looks like for us. One, it will have the amenities as the ones that are specified. It will have an entrance. All of our entrances will have if approved by y'all, a water feature in it. So we do a grand entrance. DR's mentality, which DR is a person, is the pride of home ownership. It's not just selling the house, it's selling the community. So when we talk about HOAs, I want to put any concerns to rest on that. We 100% fund the HOA till every house is closed. We maintain all the common spaces. We maintain the entrances.
Excuse me, you said 100%, so,
Till all 100% of the community is closed, we will supplement the HOA. We will not back out of the HOA until every house is closed, and we will stay on the board unless voted off of it.
so every lot.
They will have
You'll be in as long as there's an empty lot sitting there.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
That is correct. So it's not a 80%, it's not a certain number of years, it's till every single lot is closed. Keith Collins is who we're using now as the HOA maintenance for us, as our kind of our boots on the ground with us. So everything will go through that. There'll be the initiation fee, then also monthly fees. But our vendors, same ones who are putting in everything, are going to be the ones that are maintaining your common space, maintaining those ponds, fountains and ponds, entrance features, making sure it looks good, clean sidewalks and whatnot. So I hope there's no concerns on that, and we have had a good relationship with the HOAs and not had issues in the past, and don't foresee that being an issue. And wanted to go over what you would get in any DR Horton home at any level at any price point. We're smart home connected, so all of our houses come with through Safe Haven. It's basically everything can be controlled from what they call a Colossus panel. Touchscreen comes on every house. That's not an upgrade. That comes with light switches that can be controlled by that. And it has also garage door openers that can be tied into that. It can be your locks on your front doors are also tied into that. And it can also be controlled from your cell phone. So it's a neat feature, something that a lot of builders aren't doing. And you get the monitoring fees, get supplemented for the first year as part of our kind of home buyers deal with that. All of our products that we put in our houses are top quality. If we're using Hardy, it's James Hardy. We have a national contract with James Hardy. This is the same James Hardy you're seeing in $1 million houses. We're able to provide that at a lower price point. General Shell is the brick we use. We use local vendors who just have, and they're able to utilize our national contract. So we're not some big corporate company that's coming in and bringing our people in. We'll use local vendors, and that's who we want to use. And we also have 2 rounds of third-party inspections. We will not close a house if it's not doesn't get 100% inspection on that. So on that second go through, and that's by an independent third-party. Performance Point is who we're using now. And for our model homes, something that kind of differentiates us from other home builders is what you see in our model is what you're going to get. So if our model, and we say this house is $260,000, and you walk into the model, a lot of times what you'll see is you walk into someone else's model, and they list the house at $260,000, and you say, I want to buy this house. Well, that house is actually $300,000 because it has $40,000 worth of upgrades. So what you see is what you get. Everything that's included in that house, what we list, there is no bait and switch on that. So we try to include everything in our houses that a homeowner would want, and we're not going to get them on options or upgrades. We also try to take care of the citizens and those who serve us. So we have a national program called Main Street Stars. EMTs, police officers, teachers, nurses, really any sort of public servant gets an additional incentive. Right now we're running $2,000 off of the house for that. Military. We work with all lending groups, USDA, FHA, THDA. We also own our own mortgage company, which there's an additional incentive if they do use that. We own our own title company, so it can be a one-stop shop for us. So we try to make it as easy as possible on the customers. Trying to see if there's anything I missed. All houses come with a 10-year RWC warranty. So it'll have a structural warranty on that. We have our own warranty department also. So for 2 years, 2 years, it is covered by us at the division, and then anything structurally is 10 years by RWC. But we have a warranty department on site and there's a warranty phone that they can call at any time. We also give them the vendor's warranty numbers on that. So our timelines on that is the expectation is anything is supposed to be done at a very minimum of 48 hours from when a warranty goes in. And those warranties, what we tell the homeowners, the way it's logged into the system, that goes all the way up to DR himself. So it is being tracked by everyone. So something isn't going to slip through the cracks. Our communities, a community of this size would probably have a minimum of 2 superintendents, probably 2 and an assistant superintendent. You'd have a fully staffed model 7 days a week, other than the holidays, that are sales professionals. They're in-house sales professionals. They work for us. They are completely on our payroll, but we also welcome outside realtors to come in. We pay 3% commission to all outside realtors and have realtor programs, so we want to work with your local realtors. I think in a neighborhood like this, when we ran the numbers, right now we would say for this deal to work, and we've done a lot of research on this, we would say we'd sell about 50 houses a year on this. I ran the numbers for Horn Lake on new construction homes and how many they've closed. And in 2 years, Horn Lake has has sold 31 new construction homes. We would bring in 50 a year, at least. The price range, if I had to say what it was going to be today, is about $260,000 and up for an 1,800 to 2,600 square foot house. In terms of the house plans, we can, we're willing to work with that, as you can kind of see what we based it off of with what was existing in Willow Point next door. We have hardy products on the front to kind of give that different pop. We can do, if all brick is what you want, we would do 3-side bricks. We can do hardy. Hardy, and correct me if I'm wrong, has as high of a fire rating as brick does. That's what they tell us. And for insurance purposes, that's what we've been told too. So I think the quality of the products we use are going to be as high, if not higher, than what is already existing. I'm going to let Ryan kind of go over a couple more of the details of Sage Creek itself and our plans. Thank you. Or if you have any questions for me, please fire away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Anyone?
I have one.
Alderman Guys.
It was mentioned that the houses would have the side load garages. Is that what you're talking about on these as well?
The plans we propose do not have side load garages. We didn't see that based off of the plans we saw in the existing communities, as you see in Willow Point. Most of those did not, so we did not feel that we needed those. What we're trying to achieve here is the highest quality house at an attainable price.
These are 60-foot lots.
And they're 60-foot lots, so we're kind of jamming it in there to do it. But can it be done? Yes.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Anything else, Alderman Guys?
Yeah, just my subdivision will back up to this one, Holly Ridge.
Okay.
And I know all of ours, for the most part, are the side ones. So I know Willow Point doesn't have them. I can tell you, I wasn't on the board then, but we wanted that, because it was connecting on to us. And I would like you to at least consider some of that.
Absolutely.
The rest of it, I like.
Okay.
Just like Alderman Young said, this is a really good presentation. It gives us an idea of what we're looking at. And it's something that I would not mind at all having attached to my application. So that's the best thing I can say on that.
Absolutely. And just so you know, this hopefully, if it does get approved, this is not our last project in Horn Lake. We would like to put a flag in Horn Lake. We would like to look for more deals. We would like to keep doing more master plan communities like this. We're not going to, it's not a come in, get a deal done, leave. We would like to stay in Horn Lake. Just so you know our intentions also. That's all.
Alderman Dupree.
Okay. The houses that you're talking about now, Mr. Bob, are these the ones that you agree to?
No, sir.
Maybe I can help.
No, I'm speaking. I don't know what he's passed out, so I don't know what you're looking at.
Same thing you were sending in an email.
Okay. they are not, because they don't fit the design standards of the city of Horn Lake. The first set, the Meridian homes do.
Okay.
So, I was asked to view a couple of Horton communities in the Mid-South region. And I did that on Saturday, but I'm familiar with their product, and there is no argument with the quality.
Okay.
There is no argument that they sell lots and lots of homes. And they do that by building the same home essentially over and over and over and over and over again. So the designs that are shown, number one, they don't fit that area over there in the Willow Point area. Number two, they don't meet the Horn Lake design standard. We met via Zoom yesterday and had we had nice conversation. But my suggestion was, if D.R. Horton wants to build lots of homes in Horn Lake, by all means, take the Meridian home pattern and design your home similar to it, with similar pitches, with the side loads, with the various elements, with 100% masonry, and it's done.
Are these six-degree pitches or 4?
Alderman Capri, my name is Ryan Vargo. They're beyond 6.
Okay.
So all of them meet a 6 on 12 minimum, but the ones that are in front of you tonight in the D.R. Horton packet that I handed out are all 8 on 12 or better, most of which are 10 on 12.
Okay. The only thing I have, I like it, just like the other folks do. But I really think that we should take into consideration our own planning director's words. I think that we need to, like I said earlier, get with Mr. Bob. They need to get together, work something out, then go back to the planning commission. That's just what I think. I mean, that's just the order it should be taken care of. I mean, although I like it, but it still needs to be up to standard, and Mr. Bob knows that. He knows what he's doing.
No, the problem is I can't make Mr. Barber happy with anything else that we're showing him outside of the Meridian homes.
No, we're not talking about making him happy. We're talking about standards. There is a standard that we go by. It has nothing to do with him personally. This has a standard. That's what we're talking about. Mr. Bob's doing his job.
I understand. We're doing this right now in 7 towns that tie to DeSoto County. I'm fixing to do other ones in DeSoto County. Olive Branch. I've got 542 lots. We're fixing to break ground on.
I understand you're getting upset.
I'm past upset because actually every time I try to talk to Mr. Barber about this, I'm getting a different criteria of what I've got to put together to try to make the sale. The first thing was no snout houses, nothing that looks like Willow Point. Okay, so that was the reason for the exercise, guys, of showing you I have no problem with Willow Point. I think it's great. Not everybody can afford a $500,000 house for one.
I understand. It looks great, but there is a standard that we need to go by.
And these are meeting your standards, not Bob's standards. They're meeting the standards that you have published.
Mr. Bob, is that true?
No, sir, it's
Well,
not.
what's not true, Bob?
Okay.
What's not meeting it?
We need to address the board. We don't need any personal interchange, please, gentlemen.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good because right now I'm ready to pull the project. That's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
I've got 2 builders right now. I've got one builder just committed to 50 units. I've got my other builder, which has committed X amount of units. I don't have a solid number on that. We're talking about product that's all $260,000 plus units. If you don't want it, I'll take it down the road.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, I've dealt with the roof pitches. We've gone through. I asked for a copy of the minutes from you that you still can't send me. The communication, I personally.
Please, gentlemen, let's address the board.
I understand it's the money and time that we keep spending trying to go through this. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, how many times do we need to try to put different things together? the whole reason. I appreciate him, the planning commission, approving and sending it forward, but we do have another builder to try to bring in. Look, guys, I'd like to bring 5 builders in here. I'd like to open it up to some other guys that I know down here. We're trying to get past first base.
I would love for you to do that too, but being in line with what this city is proposing. I would love for you to
They're
do it.
they're meeting the standards.
Well, if our own planning director says you're not, and I tend to
Then let
believe
him
our
prove
planning
it.
director.
I'm done, unless somebody's got a question.
Alderman Guys.
Mr. Bob,
That neighborhood, that's in your standard, it's not my preference, although he says he showed you a higher roof pitch. They did have a plan in their, Horton, in their original, master plan that I felt met the standards and said, bring some more like that. We discussed yesterday about pushing porches out, in front of, the garages, some that would meet the standard. And then the all brick, the all masonry component to it, those are some of the elements which we've discussed multiple times. So regardless of that, the Planning Commission has recommended approval of this project with a set of homes there that meet the standards. I hope I answered your question.
yes.
Yes.
Anything else, Alderman?
No, sir.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Understand, Mr. Bob, that the planning commission, not you, the planning commission recommended approval with the Meridian home style, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Vargas, do you have anything, sir?
I actually do. I'd like to address Alderman Dupree for a moment. Let's roll back for a second to what you asked originally, which was why this is before you when the Planning Commission hasn't approved it. So the recommendation, as I understood it, was that we were approved based upon the subdivision was approved, and our home plans would be determined by you, the alderman and mayor and board, if they would be acceptable for the community. So that was the recommendation. They actually asked in the Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Barber, is this acceptable? Are the aldermen able to approve this project? If we approve it, can they make the decision on the home plans at that time? And the answer was yes. So that's why we're here tonight.
I watched the meeting.
Okay.
I know what was happened, but I also know that brought the new developer in, and they did not meet, I guess it's y'all, that did not meet the design requirements of this city, although the Meridian's home did. So why can't you do what the Meridian homes are doing? Why do you have to be different? And then, then we'd be in line with, everybody be on board with you.
I understand.
But as of right now, I mean, we have to go with what's on paper.
Sure, absolutely, and I totally agree. I can't agree more. What's on paper is exactly what we've been looking at for the past 3 months or more.
Which does not go against our design.
That's correct. I actually have a copy of the Horn Lake, Mississippi Code of Ordinances and the Architectural Design Standards as they sit currently online. And everything we've seen, we cannot find anything that says that the garages need to be recessed, anything to say siloed, anything. Actually, the roof pitches are a 5-on-12 minimum, which we meet on every single plan of ours. So
If I remember correctly, that was brought up in the Planning Commission, recessed garages.
that the garages were to be recessed?
Yes.
Per Mr. Barber's recommendation, yes.
Right,
But
then-
per the Code of Ordinances, there's nothing.
Yeah, we have some now that you just go look at it, and it just doesn't look well. That's why we're
Sure.
trying to up the standard of the city.
Absolutely. And actually, our plans that you have before you, I actually included the, on the third page of every plan is the floor plan. And on that floor plan, you can see the front porches that are typically between 4 feet and 2 feet extending beyond the garage. So the front porches are the front of the home, technically, which per a setback requirement, you'd have to follow. You'd have to follow that per the setback. So if it's a 35-foot setback, that front porch cannot be within the setback, so that is the front of the home. And in this case, they're all included. The only one that is in your book tonight that does not have a front porch is the 4th home plan that sits, a front porch that sits in front of the garage is the 4th home plan. That plan does not have a front porch that sits beyond the garage. We are actually working with our architect to see if we can do anything about that, bring that front porch further out to make it the front of the home. But all 4 do meet those requirements. They all 4 meet the requirements of the roof pitches. If you look on the second page of each one, which is the front elevation page, that front elevation will show a little triangle off the side of the roof on either the left or the right side of the roof. You can actually see it says 10 on 12, 8 on 12, 6 on 12, which per the ordinance, again, is a 5 on 12 minimum. So we meet that requirement. Mr. Fire Marshal, your question about fire code and whether or not our product would be a masonry product, the plans in front of you tonight have James Hardy cementitious siding. So they are a cement board, which, as Dante said previously, is a higher fire rating than brick by all technical standards from what they've told us. But I'm no fire expert, that's for sure. So I aim to put them out, not start them. But from what we can tell, based on these ordinances and talking with Mr. Bob, I cannot find anything that we actually are in violation of. So please, if you have a recommendation.
But nobody said you were in violation.
Let him speak, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I finished.
You through?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alderman Dupree, do you have a statement for him, sir?
Oh, yeah, we never said you were in violation. There's no violation. There's no right or wrong. It's just, against the law. It's just what we, as a city, have rules. I would say call them rules or recommendations by Mr. Bob, and that's what we should go by.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. And if there's anything that you guys recommend for us to change, to amend the plans that you have before you, so our corporate directive was to build these plans per the market research that they've done. And when we started off in this market 2.5 years ago, the market research that we got from corporate was to build this product in this market. And my gosh, it has proven itself to be very successful. Our homeowners love it. We have a 91.2% customer satisfaction rating based on a survey that is actually 30 days after closing of the home. So that's after they've lived in it, used it, seen how the product works, enjoyed the product, and then that survey is taken. So with that being said, our customers love it, our other municipalities love it, and we love it too. We want to bring it to Horn Lake. It is different. Mr. Bob used a term yesterday in our conference call that was fundamentally different. These homes are fundamentally different than anything that North Mississippi has currently. I would completely agree with that. We are a fundamentally different company. We offer a fundamentally different product, but the product is appreciated and it works amongst our customers. They love it. Our homeowners love our homes, and we want to bring that to Horn Lake.
Anything else, Mr. Barker? Hold on just a minute. I think Mr. Bob has some comments.
I did. I wanted to make at least 3 points. One was to describe the sequence of our review of this development. It was submitted, reviewed, and the initial information was sent back that these home designs are not compatible with Horn Lake standards. After that, this was the first Planning Commission hearing. After that, Meridian homes were submitted. Oh, these are compatible. They're compatible with the area. They're compatible with the standards in Horn Lake's code. These will work. Let's go forward. The second meeting, the other homes came back up. So we went to a meeting, additional information was presented. So we had the two, then we had the two products. All right, I wanted to describe that sequence of events. Secondly, Mr. Vargas has said several times that he is fully compliant with the Horn Lake standards. The Horn Lake standards say garages, carports, and outbuildings should not be street forward. That means they should not protrude in front of the house. These homes, in several cases, do protrude in front of the house. The way to mask that or correct that is to side load them. That makes a change and makes a difference. That's one way they don't comply. A second way that they don't comply is we look at what's in the area, roof pitches, character, how homes are built, and we're looking at the visual evidence that the homes are a departure from what is the prevailing custom in the area. And the board may want to approve a departure from it. It's fine. And I told them yesterday, it's fine. If the board wants to approve it, so be it. I'm just telling you, what you're building is not compatible with these standards, nor is it compatible with the area. The Horton home, and I have nothing against the Horton home, fine. It is the same product in Mobile. When I just flew into Mobile, 2 or 3 Horton neighborhoods. It's the same product in Atoka, Millington, Oakland, and everywhere else in the country. It's almost the exact same product. So in my view, Horn Lake has a code that says we want some distinction in our community, not the same as every place else, and so bring us a home design. Now, we also had a conversation yesterday. They said, okay, we'll go back to corporate, we'll get a design that's compatible with that area, and we'll build that. Great. That's fine. But I'm just giving you my perspective on our interactions, which have been pleasant and good, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But they really want to build those homes in this plan. They really want to build them bad. And I understand that. But comparing to the code, the prevailing product in the area, they're not the same. So I'm just making that those points to the board.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Vargas.
So, speaking on his point about the protruding garages, back to that again, I know we keep going back and forth, and I'm sorry about that, Mr. Bob, but I strongly disagree. As you can clearly see from our first floor plan on every one of those plans that I provided therein, the garages simply do not protrude. They are in line with the front of the home at worst. If there are protruding garage plans, we won't include those in our package, but based on a 60-foot lot, and the tight inner workings of that, it is difficult to do side load garages or carriage load garages. And not to rain on Meridian's parade, they're a great company. I love Jeff King, but truthfully, I don't recall at the Planning Commission meeting that those garages were all to be turned sideways. Those plans, as I understood it by the end of the meeting, were approved based upon how they were submitted. If they're front load product, then we exceed that standard.
The garages are to be side loaded or recessed on the Meridian product, which is what we're informed by that builder.
Mayor.
That's the way it was approved.
Mayor.
Thank you. And if you'd like us to recess them further, we can go back to the drawing board with our architect on that as well.
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Mr. Bob, have you seen these?
No, I have not.
Come here, please. I think this is where the problem lied.
Mr. Vargas.
He's received those as of this afternoon.
Yes.
Sir?
Mr. Barber received those as of this afternoon via email.
Oh, well, he may not have
And
understood.
most of the plans are similar to that we've submitted in the past, so we've had discussion on these same plans, yes.
Well, it seems like what we're discussing here is side load carports, which there's none in those right there.
That's correct.
So that would lead me to believe that he probably hasn't reviewed or seen those in plenty of time for this meeting tonight.
There's an approvable plan.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I think the two-story one is as well.
That one's probably approvable.
That
as
one,
well.
right, and then there's a two-story one in there as well. And I think
And
if
I'm
the-
sorry, but I have not seen these.
I understand that's what I felt. And what I would believe, sir.
They recessed the garage
Right.
some, that's approvable as well.
I would, now, let me ask you this, because I'm trying to figure out what road we need to hoe here.
That was not.
Is that,
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
that's not accessible, or
That's
not?
that was not approvable. They
Okay.
could, I'm sure they could modify it to
That's
get
what I was just
approvable.
fixing to go for. Let me ask you this question. If we were to take the ones that have the garages that protrude to the 36 or 35 foot or whatever that is, okay? Could we make the porches with that? That's what I'm asking. Mr. Bob, would that be something, if we made the porches in the front, some houses are gonna end up with a 4-foot porch, some may end up with a 6-foot porch, whatever the heck the number is, would that fit?
It's certainly headed in the right direction. What we are trying to achieve, what Horn Lake, I should say, is trying to achieve,
trying to raise
based
the bar.
on what all the plans, your last plan, your code, is you want a streetscape.
Exactly.
You want a quality neighborhood streetscape. And with all due respect to Horton, they got to shift the design to get a quality streetscape.
Yes,
And
there's got-
they can do it.
Yeah, they can't, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm at, that's perfect, thank you, Mr. Buck, that's terrific. So what I'm hearing from Mr. Bob and the developer here, the guy with the pocketbook, is we can adjust that and make the front porches
Go
even with the
beyond.
carport, right?
Yes, sir. And yes, sir, that's correct.
Go ahead, you got a train of thought, I won't stop you.
Any marketing and economic development professional will tell you, it is proven study, multiple studies, that quality neighborhood is more important than just a house,
I agree.
independent of its surroundings.
And you're exactly right.
So we are trying to move the development to a quality streetscape, and it's got that potential.
It does.
But
This
if
is
it's
this is
just,
an awesome plan, it's awesome.
just another generic place
Right.
is,
This
It's not.
this would take us out of the Atoka, Millington
Which-
gibberish that we were talking about.
We would hope.
We wouldn't have a cookie cutter, we'd have something unique and developed.
yes, sir.
No, I understand, I'm trying to get all these horses pulling this wagon in the same direction is what I'm trying to make happen. Okay?
Alderman Young, we completely agree with you.
Are you okay with that, Mr. Bob?
Yes, sir. There's no issue if the home designs are modified in a manner that
That
meets
fit.
these standards. We're good to go. It doesn't matter who builds them.
I thank you for your study on this, Mr. Bob, because I was educated tonight, and I thank you on that. I've got some good plans, and I got educated from you tonight, and I thank you. They're willing to do this, so, Mayor, have at it.
Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Barber or anybody? Alderman Geis, do you have any?
Yeah, so we've addressed the garage issue, it sounds like. If you looked at the plans, are the pitches on the roofs, from what I'm reading, what he said, the triangle with the amount?
I would, yes, sir, Alderman Geis, I would want to look at them more carefully rather than just on the fly.
Yes.
But the ones that there appear to be plans there that are approvable, yes.
Okay, so the other one I think you mentioned was the brick or whatever, masonry?
The document does say masonry at 100%. They're objecting to that. They want to use hardy plank. I'm not sure I have
What are
The
you-
materials don't necessarily call it out, it was just in the original master plan.
So what is your plan now?
Okay, we want whatever you guys want. If you guys would like those elevations in brick, we can absolutely do that. The only reason we were introducing Hardy is it's a new product that homes, high-end homes, Collierville uses Hardy product, $1 million homes use Hardy. It's a beautiful product, and it also enables us to give a color differentiation to the community by being able to introduce new paint colors, paint schemes, color schemes to that product. So it won't be every home is the same, and it's the same brown brick. It's a different color scheme for every home. If you would prefer brick, all brick home, and you like those plans, we can amend that.
Mayor?
Uh,
Guys, I agree with him on his my home is Hardy plank.
Do you have an issue with Hardy plank?
Not necessarily, no, sir.
Mayor?
I mean, it's Alderman Bledsoe.
Chief, are you fine with being so close or whatever? Because they can't move the garage. If they move the garage to the side, then we've got that problem, what he's talking about, no windows, no nothing.
Correct.
So are you fine with what they're planning on doing?
Yeah, the Hardy plank is fire rated. There is a question still, how close are the homes gonna be to each other? What's the setback, still 5 foot?
It's a 5-foot side yard.
That's
That's
probably
what
the
they're
only
proposing.
problem, is that from the eave or the house itself?
That's actually from the side of the home. So
The foundation.
So
these
10
homes
foot,
that-
and then a foot overhang, so that then brings it 8 foot. Is
Let me
that
mention-
correct?
I would, yes.
I'm
Yes,
I'm
something
talking
like
about what
that.
the closest point of the
Correct.
house is.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not trying to break this as a deal, but, you know, you thought about, is any of these other subdivisions you build, are they sprinkled?
no. But I will mention this, the products that are in front of them tonight, and you're more than welcome to take a peek at those are 40-foot buildings on a 60-foot lot. So technically, there should be a 15 to 20-foot buffer between the homes. Not to say we don't have 50-foot product that would maximize that potential, but the majority of our product will be 15-foot side yards, 15-foot side yards between homes, 15 to
Well,
20
then,
feet.
there is a couple of questions I would ask. What's the width of the street going in there? I haven't seen a lot of these
The width of the
plans.
street, I believe, is 35 feet, and I'll defer to my engineer.
Parking on the
Yeah,
street?
No, the width of the street is 30 feet. Now, in 2007, they proposed, there was discussion of making it 24, but we wouldn't advise that in a neighborhood this dense.
Yeah, we've got several subdivisions in our city now that there's parking on the street and you can't get down them. I'm telling you now, police cars have trouble getting down them. And we're gonna have, you know, this is gonna be parking on the street. People have houses, they're gonna park on the street unless there's somebody going through to give them tickets.
We done 30 foot, 31 foot, just so you can drive in the middle of it.
Okay. Well, that's what I said, I haven't seen the width of the street,
It's
but
a
that
30-foot
24 got it
Yeah.
not come. And then, you know, you have a house that's setting that close to another house. There's gonna be damage if one house catches on fire. It's gonna damage the other neighbor, even if it's 50 foot away. And you see that in the subdivision now. I mean, it's kinda hard to keep the fire off the other house. So you're gonna have some damages, and if both houses are close, I mean, you could have 3 houses burn up instead of 1. But setbacks in the fire, and the hardy board is as good as the masonry as far as that goes, Alderman. I would give you, it does meet the code as far as the fire setback, for fire rating.
Thank you.
And as Brian mentioned on the Hardy, if y'all have an opposition to Hardy, we can do all brick. The Hardy is different, but it does give us the color pop that we like, and it's a higher quality product that we'd like to bring. You know, we've had a lot of success with it in other communities, and it helped kind of differentiate us. But we're open to suggestions.
I'm a little confused as normal. Are y'all asking the board to approve the houses that are in this, except for the one Mr. Bob said that he saw objections to?
That's correct.
There were, yes, sir, Mayor, I would ask you to give me time with it. This is the first time I've seen these home plans tonight in this form. But yes, there were, in my opinion, approvable plans here. There were several, 2 or 3 or 4, I'm not sure how many. But perhaps the board would consider having Horton submit an official set that are approvable, and including that with an overall approval. We'll just sit down together, they'll get their design people, and we'll get a set of approvable plans for the development. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, that includes the porch, right?
Right, they're
That we're
dealing
talking
with
about.
that porch,
Right.
the
You're-
concept that you were talking
you're
about,
okay.
moving the porch forward,
Right, moving the porch forward.
and getting the pitches compatible with what's around it,
Right.
and those elements, yes.
Yes, sir.
Can we go ahead and pick the plans that Mr. Bob's good with tonight?
Mayor,
We've got
I
a
can't-
closing date of- we-
I couldn't understand what the lady said.
We just got our second extension on the project. We're gonna have to close, I think, by our next meeting date. So could we approve, or take a few minutes, approve the 3 or 4 that Bob looked at, give us time to work on the other ones, to submit a permit? I haven't built houses here, I apologize. To pull the permit, exactly what do we have to do, Bob?
Well, we gotta have a lot recorded and infrastructure in place, and then they have to apply for a building permit.
If we were applying for the building permit, are we gonna have to submit, do we need to submit the house plans to pull the permit?
Yes.
So why can't we go ahead and approve 3? That gets these guys on the hook for 1, but that'll give us time to go ahead and work on a few other plans that meets everybody's approval. We do not mind bringing them back through, but at least it gets this ball rolling.
And I believe we have 3 approvable plans in this booklet tonight before us. So if we can do that and everybody's agreeable to it.
Alderman Klein.
But what the chief had brought up in regards to the distance in between houses, so with, say, the approval of these 3 houses that they're like, y'all were saying something about some of the houses would only have, would have a 30-foot separation. That would be my concern, is would those houses have that kind of separation?
You say 30 feet?
Yes.
There won't be
said-
any 30-foot separation with any of the houses. It's a 60-foot wide lot. The average pad width is, let's call it 35, pad width on the slab. I was gonna say 35 to 40, I don't know what Mr. King's are, but you've got 40 feet of slab. That means that you've got your extra, but it's not no 30 feet, and I don't wanna be misleading with that.
Which realistically, that gives 10 feet on each side. So if it's if this is the whole lot here, okay, and this is 60 feet as represented, you've got a starting point here and an ending point here, which gives 10 feet on either side. Conjunctively, between the house adjacent to it.
Gives you 20.
Would be 20, correct.
And then with the overhang, you're down to,
Yeah, but right now, just about everywhere's 10-foot setback. That's pretty much throughout all of the, that's not a problem, 10-foot. It's when we step past the 4, 5, and we keep bringing them closer. And there's some subdivisions that way, but, if you do that, then that plan can't have windows, openings. It's very limited to what can be on those 2 walls being that close together. You following me on that on design?
with that 18, are you talking about the 18-foot?
I'm talking about if it's 5 foot, then they wouldn't be able to have windows in this home or that home. That would have to be like a back wall, fire rated, considering the 1 hour.
And we actually build product like that in South Memphis. We've got a community, Diamond Estates, Gemstone Estates, that was on 50-foot lots with this same product or similar, not the same elevation, let me be very clear. We have not built these elevations, but the same product with, and those yards and homes had windows actually right next to each other with no problem. But you can see that community, it's not but 10 minutes up the road, but yes, we've done it before in Shelby County with no problem. Not to say that that's something we need to do here, but I understand your concern.
Well, the main thing on the windows is If you do windows, then they have to be fire-rated windows. They can't be just your standard windows that you do on the other. In building department, we can handle that. It just needs to limit how many of these homes get put that close together. Not every home be that close together when they don't have to be.
Absolutely.
But I will know in this development, with them smaller lots, there's gonna be several of them that are really close together.
Right, and we'll
Okay.
definitely
I
address
know
those as
that already.
necessary.
Yeah.
And I think there is, or I do know, the 60 foot is our minimum lot. They're going up to 80 feet on some of these, so that is not the, correct me if I'm wrong, vast majority of the lots. Yes.
Just build it 75 foot tall.
I believe that would go against your ordinance in the city.
Okay,
Just put airplane lights on top.
all right. Is the board ready to reach a decision with these gentlemen?
Mayor.
Their proposal? Alderman Young.
I'd like to go ahead and make a proposal that we go ahead and approve.
You gotta close the public hearing first.
Well,
sorry?
yeah, it's a public hearing.
Public hearing. Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
We're probably gonna hear from Mr. Miller, I assume.
Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we hadn't heard from the citizen yet. I'm sorry.
Anybody in the audience? Yes, sir. Could you come forward and state your name, please, sir?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all for y'all's time, gentlemen. Mr. Francis J. Miller. Evening, Mr. Francis.
My name is Francis J. Miller, 12-year resident, voting resident, Ward 5, City of Horn Lake. Go to all the planning commission meetings, board meetings, take this city very serious. And I was at both of those planning commission meetings with Mr. Barber. He did not change one single word that he said at meeting number 1, meeting number 2, or tonight. And in the first meeting, no, it was the second meeting, the only houses that we got to look at, the planning commission and the audience, were the first 2 pictures you saw up there. None of us ever saw those beautiful brick homes with that side garage that Alderman Michael Geis loves. So do I. And at the planning commission meeting, the planning commissioners said they did not like seeing garages instead of houses. Because when you looked at the picture, you saw the garage, not the house. I objected with all my might on the same thing. I don't want to drive through a neighborhood and see garages. I want to see a house. So they ended up the planning commission because Mr. Barber said there was one set fit the codes, so they approved the building set that fitted the codes. And of course, the builders wanted some other things. Then tonight, I saw beautiful homes. I'd give anything to have 329 of those, but now I realize what the fire chief said. You can't put that many in there. They're too close. The lot's got to be bigger. That's not my problem. I'm not going to make it my problem. But I am saying I sure like for the board to approve those beautiful homes we saw, and then I saw them up there, and then never saw them again. And I know my Geis likes it because he said so. So I got that going. Then, for Alderman Dupree, you said, why would they come back if they didn't get the planning commission? They got the planning commission approval on what Mr. Barber said was legal. Everything else happened after they approved that set. That's all they approved. And I fully believe when you're building 329, 350, whatever it is, that's a lot of homes. That's lots of millage, property, tax, revenue, but you got to do it the right way, and you got to get the right way before you approve it. When they got that big a thing going, that much money going, are they going to hold up that they come back to you next month or what with the proper plans? You're going to live with this the rest of your life if you don't do it right, and you got to do it on the front end, because afterwards you'll never get them to correct it. You have so many unknowns tonight, and I'd sure like to have those houses built that I saw on that screen, because they aren't going to build them. So you got to do it right tonight, or you're not going to get another chance.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Miller? Does anyone else in the audience have anything to say? For or against? Yes, ma'am. Please come down here and give your name, please, and address for the minutes.
Okay, Linda Ward is my name.
Ma'am?
Linda Ward is my name.
Yes, your address, please, ma'am.
Do
I need your address for the minutes, please. Your address?
Okay. I just want to say, I've lived in Horn Lake for 25 plus years, voted all those years, and Horn Lake is a redneck, blue-collar community, plain and simple. I applaud these people. If they can get a higher class of people to come in here and buy these $260,000 homes, I'm all for it. Have y'all looked at Horn Lake lately? Have you looked at Horn Lake lately? It's nasty. It's ugly. People don't take care of their property. There's no code enforcement that makes them do that. The grass at the curb on the street, there's trees, 3-foot trees growing up at the curb. It's ugly, it's nasty. If they want to make it better, I say quit nitpicking and approve it. This is ridiculous.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else have anything to say? Anybody in the audience? Anyone on the board have any comments or questions? Gentlemen, y'all? Mr. Young, did you?
I just want to make a motion.
Let me close the public hearing then.
That's what I'm saying.
If there's no more comment, then this public hearing is now closed. Do we have any kind of motion tonight?
Mayor?
Alderman Young.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and conditionally approve this Sage Creek as proposed under Mr. Bob's advisement. I want to add a sidebar to that recommendation for approval, is that if Mr. Bob gets any indication that these homes are not going to be standard as to what we need to have, we will require y'all to come back before us again, before you start digging the first set of dirt out of that hole. But up until then, as long as that man over there is happy, I think we'll all be happy.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. Mr. Bob, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I just want to, I appreciate the comment. I just want to ensure the board that I'm looking at the code. I'm looking at Horn Lake's code is what we're administering, so.
Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Alderman Geis. Do we have any discussion?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
What I was arguing about earlier was on the conditions that Mr. Bob had, his information. Now that Mr. Bob's got correct information, now I'm on board with it. I just want to put that out there because I know we had an exchange up here. Now I'm okay with it with Mr. Bob's approval.
Anyone else have any comments? Mr. Billy.
Mayor, I may have missed some of the discussion, but I thought we were going to approve some of the house designs that were in the handout tonight. Did I miss?
I think there's 3 of them.
There were Meridian homes, and then these homes, right, Mr. Bob?
Mayor, if I may.
I
Yes,
think we need to be clear on that.
I would like to be clear, because it's gonna be difficult for me to write dead on the spot. I know of one that works, that was in that, master plan, and it appears that 2 or 3 more do, but I would want to reserve the right to examine them more carefully when we're not in the absolute heat of the moment. But it would appear that that would be the case. Yes, sir. Is that solid enough?
Mr. Campbell?
If I could borrow somebody's book, just so that,
There's one.
Mayor, if I may, for a moment.
Oh, Mr. Barger, I'm sorry.
Thank you. No worries. I would at least like to define what you would like us to do. And I believe we have defined that tonight, as defined as Mr. Alderman Young defined it for us, and having the front porches extend beyond the garage to a particular footage that's as long as it's straight across. Is that correct, Alderman Young?
So I'm looking at a picture. It appears to me that the porch protrudes in front of the home by a substantial usable space, which would be at an absolute minimum 4 feet. It really ought to be 5 or 6. And so, yes, that would be an appropriate design feature for this home. And it would not be garage forward, it would be porch forward.
Right, porch forward, correct.
Then a second element,
Which is basically this house right here, the Meridian home.
I believe yes, that's correct, in the lower left. We've said all along, that appears to be an approvable home.
That one Meridian home.
Yeah, that's not a Meridian, that's a Horton home.
Horton home. Is that a
Yes.
Horton home?
Yeah, that's a Horton home.
Okay, that home right there.
That's right.
Let's get back on track here. Mr. Bob, you have the floor.
Yes, sir, and that the roof pitches be compatible with the Meridian homes that were shown earlier. And I don't know what the pitch is, but we can determine it after the meeting. So we get the roof pitches right, we get the porches forward, so that we get a better streetscape in that neighborhood. That's where we're heading. That's a very, very different design than the original plan, plans that were submitted to us.
Yes, sir.
So that's 2 elements, but I must confess, I'm a little nervous just on the spot, will you approve this plan? But with those 2 principles, and if they're willing to design to it, I feel like we could get to an approvable set of plans.
Absolutely.
All right, so it seems like to me the motion puts the decision entirely on you and not the planning commission.
No. I certainly don't want it entirely on me, but if we can take those to the planning commission to have them ratified or verified, that that's the case, if we want to do that in the future. I don't know how to handle that part of it, but.
I think Mr. Campbell had some ideas.
Mayor, I brought up the issue. I'm not sure I'm the man with the ideas, but I wrote down the 2 things that you said about the front porches and the roof pitches, so we can include that in the approval tonight.
Yes.
Consistent with the handouts.
Yes.
That they presented, along with approving the Meridian. I mean.
Yeah, the Meridian's a foregone conclusion.
Okay.
Yes.
We probably ought to understand also, what is the ratio here? We're building 1 Meridian home and 328 Hortons, or what is their anticipated share? Just so we kind of understand as these homes come online, what the mix is. Do y'all have a mix?
I probably wouldn't be the person to speak on that. Paul may have an answer. As the developer, he's selling us the lot, so I wouldn't be qualified to speak on that. Paul?
Mr. Paul, did you have anything you wanted to say, sir?
Probably 50-50.
Well, say it'd be kind of hard to
Fair
predict because that'd be a decision made by the market.
Right, and we can adjust that by some amount, there'll be flux in it, but that gives us an understanding. We could say 40, 60 or whatever to give flexibility. Either way would be fine, but we just want to know we're getting a true mix of these homes. I think the product, in my view, the product will be far better when we get the right design on the front and get that mix in the neighborhood.
And I believe we're close on that current product per
Sir?
this handout. I believe we're very close to his standard per this handout. So, I mean, roof pitches, briefly reviewing, 10 on 12 for the first plan, 10 on 12 roof pitch. If you look at the second page of that, the porch is set out at a minimum of 2 feet, which to Alderman Young, we can extend that out 4 feet if need be. The second plan, that is already a 10 on 12 roof pitch defined by the elevation. And the current porch is actually 5 feet per the floor plan drawing. Same thing goes with the next plan in that lineup. On the elevation R, we see that 10 on 12 roof pitch, as well as the porch as well. It's at 5 feet out in front of the house. The only home that is currently in this packet, which will be the fourth home, this right here, that's the one that we would need to do a little bit of work on. Go back to the drawing board. I think the current porch on it is not quite even with the garage per the floor plan. Okay, it's actually set just behind the garage, about maybe less than a foot, but we can extend that out per ordinance.
And if I could just get 30 seconds of your time to
Yes, sir.
to put it in a negative, Mayor, we want to avoid this cave. We want to avoid all garage coming out. We want to avoid this cage, so we got porch across the front of the home. Those are the kinds of things that will make it for a better neighborhood. And I think that's what he's describing.
That's exactly right.
Thank you all for your time. Thank
All
you.
right, hold on just a moment if you would.
Absolutely.
Anyone else on the board? Alderman Guys.
Just, if we're discussing it, it was one of the other thing was masonry as opposed to hardy. I don't have an issue with that.
Well, yeah, the fire chief said the hardy board would be fine, and that would offer more color schemes and more whatever. If they want to build a brick house here, there, and yonder for whatever, that's up to them. Yeah, but yeah, you're right, Alderman Gott, you're right.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Mr. Bob, did you have anything before?
No, sir, I don't have it.
Did y'all have anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you guys so much.
Mayor, I got one thing.
Alderman Dupree.
I've asked you this before when we was up here. There's no way to put French doors in there, right?
I'll defer to Don. It'd be a little tough. That's puts us out of that price point.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and I think I would really appreciate the motion were read back. So, Mr. Robinson is pointing to you, Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Mayor, the motion was by Alderman Young and seconded by Alderman Geis to approve the rezoning as presented with the design of the houses being with the front porch extended forward at least 4 feet, the roof pitches being compatible, and the anticipated share of the design, 50% Horton, 50% Meridian, and 100% hardy or masonry construction.
Thank you, sir. Are we all on the same page here? Before we take a vote, Mr. Powell.
If something happens and they don't take 50%, I want the option to be able to sell to somebody else.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, Mr. Powell.
I said, you want to say something? Go ahead. I'd like the option to be able to sell them if something happens and Meridian builds for 2 years and then don't want to do another take. I don't want to be confined to where these houses can't be sold to anybody else. The lots, I'm sorry.
We're not suggesting that. We're not approving Meridian or Horton as builders.
No.
We're approving those home designs.
Because you're wanting to sell lots.
Yes,
what
sir.
you're wanting to do.
Yes, sir.
And you don't really care who's on them. You want to sell the lot.
But I know what happens when it gets wrote down and recorded. I'm stuck to that. Good point.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for anybody? With that being the case, y'all ready to vote? All right. Mr. Robinson, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Nay.
Alderman Bostic.
Nay.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 5 in favor, 2 opposed. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much. All right, Mr. Bob, it's back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I don't think the other three will be quite so long. The second planning case is 2027 SDR. That simply means subdivision revision. It is a revision of Rolling Green, a single lot in Rolling Green as you can go straight to the map. It's pretty simple. Right there, Jim. Right here, this lot in the corner, they're 3-acre lots in Rolling Green, and they're requesting that it be divided into 2 pieces, and if you'll go up, you'll see that division going up one more. That's the way comes down into view. You'll see the 3-acre lot. It's merely a division of a 3-acre lot into 2 1.5-acre lots. We do have in the file the affidavits of all the interested persons. We have to collect notify everybody in that particular section of the subdivision. They have submitted those affidavits that no one is objecting to this. They're agreeing to the division. So the Planning Commission heard it. This will become Rolling Green, Section 3, first revision. They'll have to re-record the plat according to the standard conditions of platting and recording. There was some discussion on the Planning Commission about the nature of the driveways and so forth, but ultimately they approved it with one no vote of the commission. There was 1 no vote, but it's recommended to you for approval.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Alderman Geis, do you, sir?
No, sir, I have no issue with it.
Anyone? Alderman Young?
Are the rest of the properties in this, are they all 3 acres?
Yes, sir. All the lots are 3 acres.
Are they selling off the back 1 acre?
I think there's a family situation and they're conveying half the lot to a family member.
So who's going to be in charge of the access road?
This will simply be a driveway. It's not a street. They'll install a driveway and go back and I'm guessing build a house back here. So go back there.
What does our code say about that?
It's okay.
It's okay.
At 1.5 acre lot, it has direct public road frontage, so it just requires the installation of a culvert and build a driveway.
And there are family members?
Alderman Young, I can't say that with 100% certainty, but that's my recollection. It's a family division occurring. Now, the family's not dividing. They're dividing the property, and they're going to give it to one of the other family members.
I believe there's someone here.
Yes. Mr. Donnie Chambers, how are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm Donnie Chambers, 6290 Autumn Oaks Drive, Olive Branch, Mississippi. A friend of mine, the gentleman's been living there about 35 years. His mother lives in the smaller home. He's a tugboat captain. He's on and off, and we've agreed to build him a house up there, about $250,000.
What's the rest of the neighborhood saying about that, Mr. Bob?
They agreed to, nobody objected to it.
Nobody objected to it?
No, sir, and they submitted affidavits from everybody in that section of the subdivision, and nobody objected to it.
And your name is what, sir?
Donnie Chambers.
You're not the builder, are you?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Robbie Jones could not be here tonight, so he asked me to come down here.
But you're Mr. Chambers, the builder.
I'm Donnie.
Donnie, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Don't, yeah. He owes us some money, don't he?
Well, that's a separate issue.
Mayor.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Hey, Donnie, is that the same lot that they put a trailer on because they had, the lady was handicapped or something? Is that the same one we split a long time ago?
He's been living in a trailer.
And now they're gonna build a house instead of the
Right.
trailer?
Right.
Okay, that was a long time ago.
Right, yeah. Comment.
I just want to.
Anybody else have any questions? Alderman Klein.
They will move that trailer out, right?
Yes, sir.
Mayor.
Mr. Box.
Currently at the residence that's there now, they have, over in that area, we have individual pump stations that go to each one of those homes over there. And that house has a pump station, but they will not be able to tie another house into that pump station. A new pump station will have to be installed for that lot, a new home. That's the only way they get sewer out there.
We had planned on putting a treatment plant in.
Well, I don't know if we can allow a treatment plant being we have city sewer services out there.
But you're here to help the customer, and the customer, treatment plant is a lot less expensive than run sewer. Just put about 375 feet.
Right, but like I said, I don't know if even the health department who would approve that would even approve it with city sewer services being accessible.
Anybody got any idea about this?
And I checked on the pumps, the pump stations that that have been installed out there. I had one checked on what a whole unit would cost. And it's about $3,000 for the whole unit. But that's just for the unit. That's not including discharge piping out to the discharge out to the street.
Okay.
And our labor charges if we install it.
Sir?
And for our labor charges if we install that.
So you're saying the homeowner will receive a bill for the pumping station, for everything else and the labor?
Right.
We would install it, but give them the bill?
Right.
But I believe there's already septic tanks out there and treatment plants out there in that subdivision.
I don't know if, I mean, back when this subdivision was, when this project was done, there were some homes that did not elect to go with pumps, the pump stations that were put in out there. At that time when they were installed, it was like an agreement on if they went with it, that it would not cost them anything to get that. If they didn't do it, if it come back later, they would pay the charge of getting a station installed. But like I said, right now, I don't know if the health department would approve a septic system or anything if there's city sewer services available to go to.
Would I have that
Well, the
right?
issue before us tonight, right now, is just whether to divide the lot, isn't it, Mr. Bill?
Correct, Mr. Mayor.
Then that would, if the board so chose to divide the lot, then the rest of it would have to come afterwards.
I just wanted them to be aware of what would, potentially they would have to do.
Yes, well, I appreciate you telling Mr. Chambliss that, I really do. And I'm sure that Mr. Chambliss appreciates it also.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. With your permission, we'll.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Donnie, you think the people will be able to pay for a sewer system?
Well, they can.
Because we might be spinning our wheels if they said, no, they don't want one.
Well, if I have the option to contact the health department to let them come out there, and look, that's where you start right there. And we built it out in Coldwater, and although I guess about 35 homes, all of them have had.
Okay. Well,
they come out and give permission, and they come back out there and test it.
What I was told, like at my house, when they add sewer system in, you have an option to do it now, but if something happens to that, or you can't add another one, you had to use that one. But that might be just a soda can. I don't know, you need to, somebody to check into that part. Because, they said when mine breaks, I'll have to hook on to the sewer system.
Anything else? Well, I think the matter before us now is just whether you want to divide up the lot.
Mayor.
Alderman Guys.
This isn't a public hearing or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. I make a motion to approve case number 2027 SDR, Rolling Green revision number 1 of lot number 33.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Guys. We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein?
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe?
Aye.
Alderman Geis?
Aye.
Alderman Bostic?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
Alderman DeVries?
Aye.
Alderman Young?
No.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you,
very
Mr. Chambers.
Thank you all.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Bob.
are you ready for me to go next?
Oh, yes,
keep
sir,
going?
please.
This is case number 2049 SDR. It's another subdivision revision. This is related to preferred industrial subdivision. And you'll see the current address is 2204 Cole Road. And as you scroll down to the map there, this is a similar circumstance. You might twist that on its side all the way around. So, okay, the color has gotten off some sort of way. I'm not sure, probably when we changed it to a PDF file. But the subdivision runs right here. Just like that, preferred, and I'll show you the plat in just a moment. I think it's in there. What they're asking to do, right now this exists as a single lot, and there's one building here, 2204 Cole Road. This is Hurt Road here, Cole Road there, Cole Street. They're asking to divide that now to become 4 lots, and if you'll scroll down, I think here it is. This is Cole Road, Hurt Road. So the building you were looking at was right along in here, and now they want to divide this into the total of 4 lots, I believe is the number. It's zoned industrial. Now, as opposed to the other one, they already had their surrounding property owners' agreement to that revision. This did not come with the affidavits of the surrounding property owners. So it was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission, subject to those agreements being submitted. It'll have to be re-recorded. It'll become preferred industrial subdivision, first revision. And before we go forward with it, we'll need to see the acknowledgments of the surrounding owners. The Planning Commission approved it unanimously, or recommended that the mayor and board that it be approved and their vote was unanimous.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Bob? Anyone? Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Guys.
I make a motion to approve case number 2049 SDR, preferred industrial subdivision, first revision contingent upon the approval of the neighboring businesses.
Yes.
I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion by Alderman Guys. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young?
Aye.
Alderman Dupree?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
Alderman Bostic?
Aye.
Alderman Geis?
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe?
Aye.
Alderman Klein?
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter D, Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The last planning case is number 2250 SD. It's a final subdivision approval, Willow Point subdivision, phase 3. Willow Point is a third phase, and I believe it's the last phase of a planned unit development. You'll see the section outlined in red here. Willow Point is constructed off of Goodman Road, and it winds its way back up into this area here. Sage Creek, which we just had the long conversation about, is located immediately to the west here. So Willow Point was approved on a preliminary basis back in November. They wanted to record the plat, and we reviewed the records and determined that they had not received a final plat approval, only a preliminary. So they're before you tonight. If you'll scroll up, you'll see a plat. Scroll down, I should say. And this is your Willow Point plat. Now it's can you twist it to the left? There we go. All right, so Sage Creek we were just looking at right here. The manufactured home park is to the south here somewhere. This is the existing Willow Point. The applicant is W.H. Porter was the engineer. I hope they're still here. Are they still here? There. I apologize, I'm trying to recall the number of lots. How many lots are on there? 89 additional lots. They are proposing that the covenants be the identical covenants to the neighborhood next door. There is some common detention area in here. I think Vince has been looking at it and described to them what they need to do for the drainage, and there is a homeowners association associated with this to care for this common area. So Planning Commission heard it and approved it, subject to appropriate arrangements of the homeowners association and the standard conditions of platting and recording, and the engineer's comments on the infrastructure.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Bob? Is there anyone?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
This goes back to the subdivision earlier. If the HOA dissolves, would that go back to the city? That common area?
Mr. Billy, what happens?
No, it's not automatically. The mayor was describing a process where it could, but that would be a situation that I would advise against the city ever accepting forfeited tax property from the state of Mississippi that's common open space for a subdivision.
Okay.
Mayor?
Alderman Geis, I'm sorry.
The houses and the lots that are being built in there, are they compatible to the bigger lots and the bigger homes as opposed to the smaller ones closer together when you first come off of Goodman?
We can direct that question to the engineer, but our approval requirement was that whatever is constructed here is compatible with the lots adjacent next door, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir.
Look at these things on number, this might be the old one. It's got in here under number 2, staff comments and recommendations.
Yes, sir.
It says restrictive covenants have not been submitted and should be provided. Is that the old one?
They have been submitted. He's emailed. They're going to be duplicates of the prior section.
All right, so it will say, and I don't understand, they're saying final resolution of the fee matter discussed in 1B, and it says the original approval contained a condition that a fee.
Oh, yes, there's a fee in lieu of open space associated with this. That's
so
one of the
they're willing to pay that too?
Yes, sir.
$350 a lot?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you for pointing that out. That was part of, that was
Well,
part of
you've
the
had a
discussion.
long night out there, I'm gonna tell you. But it is included, the $350 there, they'll pay that. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I think a representative from the applicants here, if the
Are
board
they?
has any questions.
Oh, would you like to step forward, sir? I remember you, you were here earlier.
How you doing? Henry Porter with WH Porter. I'll be willing to answer any questions y'all might have on this.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Porter? What was your first name, last name?
Porter.
Porter, that's right.
Mr.
Alderman
Porter,
Geis.
What size houses are you talking about in there and size lots?
So the lots are gonna be 8,400 square feet, the minimum is, but most of them probably gonna be about 10,000 square feet or a little bit larger. I can't speak on the house size. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit outside of my.
So you heard the question I had for him. When you come off of Goodman, you go around a roundabout and go in. That road's narrow, there's a lot of small houses crammed up in there.
Mhm.
People park down the road and it's difficult to get down through there. Are these houses and lots proposed are gonna be like the little bit bigger ones, a little bit further down? Because I believe there's actually 3 subdivisions actually in there. You got Holly Grove, then you've got Willow Point, and then you have something else toward the front.
I think it will probably be a little more compatible with that stuff in the back. We will have a 31-foot road, so we'll be a pretty wide road, so you can park on the sides. If people were, you can park on the sides and still drive through the middle of it.
Okay, because it does widen up once you get through that first section, so
Mhm.
that's what I was wanting to know. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Young.
Sidewalks on both sides?
They are.
ADA accessible ramps?
They will be.
Alderman, I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I asked if he was gonna have sidewalks on both sides of the street, he said yes.
Oh, great.
And I asked if he was gonna have ADA accessible ramps to the sidewalks, he said yes.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Porter? Mr. Porter, do you have any other comments or remarks? Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Is the applicant up there who wants to? Is there any more discussion on the board? Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve case number 2050 SD, Willow Point Phase 3 final.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Everybody,
Thank
we're
you.
gonna take about a 10-minute break here. All right, we're back. Everybody set? All right, we're on number 6, new business, a resolution for cleaning private property. This is a public hearing, which I now declare open. There's a list of properties that need to be cleaned. Does anybody out there have anything to say, pro or con? There being none, public hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Bostic.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the resolution for cleaning private property as listed.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
No, I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter B, do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve to accept property liability, workman's compensation, and other miscellaneous coverage renewal for the 2021-2022 year as presented by Lipscomb and Pitts, with a total annual premium of $626,285, effective October 1st, 2021.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, sir.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter C. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion for the budget transfer year-end reconciliation in city departments.
Do we have a second to the motion by Alderman Geis?
I second that, Mayor.
We have a second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter D. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to request a budget transfer in the police department.
We have a motion by Alderman Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter E. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to request to change the ambulance fees as presented, effective October 1st, 2021.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Alderman Klein.
Hey, Chief, if I'm not mistaken, the new charges will match up with the other cities as far as their ambulance charges?
Yes, we've had meetings with the other EMS services when we meet once a month, but we've all been trying to work on getting this set up. I think South Haven's on board. Olive Branch is working on it, Hernandez working on it, and the county, now the county did say that it's possible they won't do their change till January 1, but they're almost where we're at now. They're at 800 where have 0 at that. We don't have any ALS 2, so we're moving that up to 900.
Well, so these situations when these other cities are running short because their ambulances are tied up, they're getting a good deal because Horn Lake came in there and picked them up, or do you charge whatever that city charge is since you're covering for them?
We have to, and everybody's using the same billing company now, so we're trying to get it all to be equal. The thing now is if we transport somebody out of the city of Horn Lake, we may charge $600. If Walls or the county came in, they may charge $800 for that same call. So it gets a little confusion when somebody rides in an ambulance and then they get in another ambulance and then they want to say, well, you're charging this and they charge that.
Gotcha.
The county is $12 a mile. So we're charging currently right now on that fee, if you look at it, we're currently charging $12 a mile. So we ain't changing anything because we got the other cities to go up with us. And then we're charging $400 for BLS, $600 for ALS, and that's the only 3 charges we have. But on those, it is a non-emergency BLS is the same as an emergency BLS, and the ALS 1 or emergency is the same. And then if we do an ALS 2, we added that in there. That's to be honest, sometimes we spend over $1,000 in medication on that one transport. If we do some of those things on a full arrest or any of that on that patient, we're going to have, the city's going to be out more than we're going to collect, but we still have try to recoup some of the money for that particular transport.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter F, do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Boston.
per our email that we received today from Mr. Jim, I would like to move item F to executive session to clear up one department, and then that way we could all come back and approve this if it's okay with the board.
I think the board already adopted a budget. Didn't we already adopt a budget?
Where there was a discrepancy, we have all the paperwork in front of us in one department.
Was there?
I'm not saying.
I'm just confused. Because I know that the board adopted a budget.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear up this one matter that was printed out and was emailed to us today to make sure there's not any issues here with this.
That would be up to the board.
Yeah.
Did y'all want to review this or
Yes.
stand by
Yes,
your
sir.
decision?
Yes. Yes.
When I see heads nodding, what does that mean?
That means we want to revisit this in executive session, so we can make sure that everything is the way it should be.
Well, I want to make sure I'm on legal ground. If the board's already adopted a budget, can they do that?
Mr. Mayor, the budget is adopted, but what is presented tonight is the pay raises that are contemplated by that budget. The budget is adopted, the money is in the budgets for each department, but the board still must take action to approve the pay increases at some point, and I think that's what's before the board tonight.
Okay, so we'll make sure we're on all legal ground here. All right, so Alderman Young, you said Alderman Dupree? No, yes? Yes, okay. All right, we will move that to executive session. All right, letter G, do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to purchase an APC Symetra LX power supply for the computer servers from Unistar Sparco Computer Inc., not to exceed $16,759.64, being the best bid.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter H, discussion regarding city COVID-19 paid sick leave policy. What is the discussion?
Mr. Mayor, the COVID paid leave expires on September 30th of 2021, so this is the last board meeting before that expiration date. So if the board is okay with that policy expiring, they don't need to take any action, but if they do want to extend it, then action would be required.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. What is the wish of the board? Does anybody want to make a motion to extend it? Alderman Boston.
I was just curious what the other municipalities are doing around. Are they cutting it, or did they? I think South Haven took it till the end of the year.
Correct. South Haven was, I guess when they did their extension, y'all will remember we extended this in March until this month. And I think when South Haven did that, they went ahead and extended theirs through the 31st. Olive Branch has not had any. They didn't have any paid leave after the federal law expired in December 30th of last year. And I'm not sure what the county's doing, but theirs is set to expire on September 30th as well.
I think Ms. AJ's not here, but I think she talked to the department heads, and I had the impression that most department heads were comfortable with it expiring on the 30th. Now, that's my belief, I see everybody down there, most of them nodding their heads, so. Do any department heads want to comment on this? Anybody? Anybody on the board want to ask any questions or?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson?
are there any department heads who are here now who is opposed to it expiring?
Anything else, Alderman?
That's it.
Okay. If there's no reason, if no one wants to make a motion to extend it, then we don't have to do anything, right, Mr. Campbell?
Correct.
Y'all ready to move on? All right. Number 7, citizens' remarks. Anybody out there?
There was nobody that signed up
All right,
today.
thank you, sir. Okay, number 8, Mayor Alderman conversation. All right. Letter A, I think Alderman Young.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Excuse me, I don't have anything other than to thank everyone and to let everyone know, Alderman Bostic just informed me that our planning commissioner, Miss Linda McGann, just informed him her son has passed away. So if you remember them in your prayers, she just lost her husband about 3 years ago. So if you could remember them in your prayers, sure would appreciate it. Okay, Alderman correspondence. Alderman Young.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a new and better way to watch this board perform as well as the Planning Commission perform, and that's through our app that is on the phones and everything. The last several meetings, I'm going to say probably the last 3 meetings, there's been some very disturbing phrases put out there, to say the least. This is on Facebook Live, let me put it to you, let me just preface it with that. There have been people within this building that have been stalked on Facebook from that post, from Facebook Live. Very disturbing comments. Basically, it is being used for a position to stir up, like a mass spoon. We're better than that. The people out there in Horn Lake that watch us on Facebook Live, they deserve better than that. They do not need to see these disparaging comments that are being put on there. And it's not everybody, it's just a few. I have discussed this with our legal counsel, Mr. Billy, and we cannot restrict the comments, if I'm correctly understanding, Mr. Billy. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. We cannot restrict the comments on Facebook Live, but we can shut it down. Seeing how we have an alternative, they can watch it through our app, and if they wish to comment to this board, they can come and fill out that piece of paper, and they have 3 minutes to comment to us. So the clarity of the board and what we are doing, whether it is the Planning Commission board or this board, is not challenged at all. The only thing that we will be missing is contradictory remarks, pornographic remarks, language that is not becoming of a citizen of this city. And I don't think we need to entertain those knuckleheads anymore. And that's where I stand on it.
The other cities, I know I've talked to you and to some of the other people, and then y'all all know that I don't know anything about computers. So, but what are the other cities doing? I think, does South Haven do it like we do it now? Or?
No one does it like we do it. Nobody in the state of Mississippi. They do it on YouTube, but there's no comments, or they have an app like we have, and there's no comments. They have all got away from YouTube or from Facebook Live because of this exact problem. People do not know how to act intelligently with their comments.
So what you're saying, there is a way for the citizens to
yes, sir.
Watch the board?
Yes, sir, through our app that has been developed. All they got to do is go download it. It's free.
Anybody have any comments? Alderman Geis?
Personally, I have responded to people on this before that had questions or whatever. I used to have to operate the police department Facebook page, and I had a similar thing with trolls getting on there making inappropriate comments. And you know, we have an attorney here, but my understanding is that we can of course shut it down and get rid of the public's ability to comment on these things. And some people can't come here, and this is their ability to be able to make a comment on what we're doing. But my research on it was I couldn't just block people because I didn't like what they had to say, but I could block people if they were pornographic, used profanity and things like that. Now, they could say on there all day long the police department was terrible, they sucked, whatever, but when they went into actual profanity and got nasty, then I could block them. That would be my recommendation, is to block the ones that are being profane and give other people the opportunity, at least for a while, to continue to respond appropriately. You know, they don't have to agree with us, they just have to agree in a proper manner. That's just my opinion.
Does anyone else have any comments? Alderman Bostic?
Yeah, I kind of agree both sides, but I was just curious, who would be in charge of that, and who would be the one to say to turn somebody off? And what guidelines do they have to go by to do that legally?
Well, it couldn't be any of us because we're actually participating in the meeting, so it would have to be, maybe John Mark would have to monitor those comments, and if one, like Alderman Guy suggested, is using profanity or obscene remarks, then, you know, that comment could be deleted.
You know, threats, stuff like
Right.
that, anything like that. Because, you know, I do watch this while we're discussing this, and I'm seeing comments, and there were, like on the subdivision, there was some, you know, questions on there that people brought up, you know, about what we brought up about banning rental property in subdivisions and things like that. So, you know, there is a legitimate purpose to it, and you know, somebody would just have to understand, whoever it is, you know, what profanity is and what threats are and stuff like that. You know, I think it's a good tool. You know, after the meetings, I do scroll through it and look and see what people have said, and then I do contact some of them and give them an answer on why I voted a certain way or whatever. So I see your point. You know, I've seen some stuff on there that was inappropriate.
Well, I mean, couldn't you do the same thing on your personal Facebook page or your Alderman Facebook page?
Well,
they could ask the question on there and you could get back to them there?
They could, but
Okay.
they may not think to contact me. But there are people that are physically unable to come to this meeting that, you know, that can comment on here. So, you know.
Well, there are probably people physically unable to really want to see what these people are saying that are grossly negligent on this Facebook app and have to read it before we can shut it off. I think we're just going down a rabbit hole if we seem to think that we can just censure certain people, which we can't. I think if we're going to shut it down, we need to shut it down and use the other available options that we have. And if they wish to contact this board, they can come here, or they can contact us on our Facebook pages, or send us an email, or a text, or a tweet, or a carrier pigeon. I mean, I just do not think that the public needs to read what these people are putting on there, because they're doing two things. They're trying to suck them in to get an argument going, and if it doesn't go their way, they're using profanity and pornographic words to describe what we may be doing or may not do. And I just don't think that as an honorable board, we should be subjected to that kind of low-life stuff, period.
I think Alderman Bostic had his hand up next, Alderman Dupree.
Yeah, I was just curious, go back to the question I asked a minute ago, does Facebook not have a guideline that they go by where they take somebody off and put them in Facebook jail? That's what they call it. That's what I heard it called anyway. They put them in basic jail for like 30 days or whatever.
I don't know, Alderman Bostic, somebody else may know that's more familiar with Facebook than I am.
I know on the Facebook page at least, as the person that operated that page, I was able to go in there and I could put filters in for profanity and things like that where it blocked it out. I don't know if this has that ability or not. You know, and you can block.
I didn't hear what he said.
He does, if he sees profanity, he blocks that person.
If he sees it, but we're not able to stop it prior to the rest of the Horn Lake public seeing it.
Alderman Dupree.
So if we're the only one in the state of Mississippi doing it, now just a question because I don't know. Did I hear earlier? Okay, Holly Springs. Okay, well, my question is, because I don't know, I heard somebody earlier say we can't do it. Is it legally we can't do it? Mr. Billy, I mean, I don't understand why we...
No, what Alderman Geis was suggesting is you can't block people just because they disagree with your opinion or have a different opinion or, you know, don't say something you like. What you can do is, like John Marcus talking about,
Right.
and Alderman Geis, if somebody says anything profane, you can go in there and either block them or delete their comment.
Okay, well, if nobody else around here does it, we can get rid of it legally, right?
Absolutely, yeah, you can shut it down
Okay.
if you want to. South Haven uses a different live stream that doesn't have comments on it, and Hernando uses YouTube with disabled comments, so.
That's what
yes.
I would like to go to. I don't mind people watching this. I mean, you can go on the website or on this app. I have the app. I don't see why we have to be subjected to negativity live stream when we're up here on this board. If the other cities can do it other ways, why can't we? I don't think that's fair to us, being trashed and bashed up here while we're conducting business, just because they don't like what we have to say. It's not fair to us.
Does anyone else have any comments?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
have we researched any other platform to use?
They were talking about.
We already have another platform.
The app, but
Yeah.
anything else, I don't know.
There's
People may not
YouTube,
be able, I know
yeah.
Facebook is widely used, and we're gonna hear negative comments. I don't care what platform we're on and how we get it. We're gonna get some negative feedback, so I can certainly see it both ways. You know, it doesn't seem right that other citizens are tainted by those who don't know how to get their points across effectively. So I was just wondering about another platform that we may be able to use to do that. I know it's probably a lot of hard work for Mr. John Mark to pay attention to those comments as well. Although, you know, like Alderman Guy said, these are taxpaying citizens who may not be able to get in here, and with COVID concerns and different concerns, and this is their way for them to voice their opinion. So I don't know the right answer, but we certainly need a solution to our potential problem.
Well, I mean, y'all know I know nothing about computers, so I'm just bear with me. I'm be 101 here. You're saying South Haven is broadcast live
On YouTube.
on YouTube. All right.
They also have an app, I believe.
And so people just can't comment right then, but they can see what's going on.
Yes, they
And
can hear us, they can see us.
Contact their alderman, or they
Yeah.
can contact City Hall the next day, either by picking up the phone and talking.
By any
or
other media they wish to do, that's correct.
So we still get the opinion of the citizens.
Yeah, this is not a move to stop the citizens from giving us their opinions. This is a move so the 71-year-old person out there that really doesn't want to see profanity lashed at us doesn't have to go through a minute or two of that stuff until he sees it and turns it off. That's not what that's about. People have the right to do it. I'm sure Alderman Geis is over there reading comments about it right now. So, I'm sure there's some choice words being put on there by some selective people.
It's civil.
Oh, that's
See,
good.
I really don't like phones up here, because those people are trying to influence you while you're here listening to the testimony, the evidence, or whatever, and you're making your decisions based on what you think is best for the city.
Right. I just think it's just better for all concerned that everybody live on the same platform. Some people don't know how to use it, but if they want to call us or anything, they do that anyway. We do not require, or we are not under any kind of aggression to maintain Facebook Live. It was something that we put out there for the convenience of the general public. It has been abused by a few. We should not subject that to the rest of the citizens of Horn Lake. They can watch us on any other platform they want to watch us. I'm sure Mr. John can come up in the next 3 or 4 days with a perfectly good, sidebar for this thing. But Facebook Live is, at best, stirring the cow manure. And their aggressions in pornographic and description and descriptiveness is not suitable for anybody in this town that we're seeing on that. And that's my problem with it. If they're not adult enough to play fair and play right, and they don't have enough morals and integrity, shut it off.
Did y'all want to continue this discussion? Y'all want to make a motion? Y'all want to think about it and vote on it at the next meeting?
Mayor?
Alderman Young.
I make a motion that we discontinue the use of Facebook Live starting tonight into the future. Shut it off.
But we will pursue another venue for the citizens to watch it live.
That'll be, well, we already have that availability. It's our app, they have that. And if Mr. John can come up with another suitable format, and this board can approve it and say, yep, that's fine, where we can filter out adult language and nudity and swearing and whatever from us and the public seeing that, then that's fine.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Do we have any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to wait until we have a for sure platform so that we can know that our citizens will be able to have access to seeing the meeting. I know you said the app is a platform that could possibly be used. But I want to be sure that our citizens have enough time as well, or, in advance, knowing if we're making any changes.
It only takes a second to
Only takes a second.
It's there, he's already got it up.
For the 70-year-old woman who's watching, how long it's gonna take her?
I don't know how long it'll take her on Facebook.
She's familiar with it now.
She'll be familiar with this when she uses it.
Till she gets her grandkids to download it.
Yeah, just like we all do. We got our grandkids to hook up our TV systems or whatever.
Do we have any more comments or questions by anybody on the board? Will we have any more discussion?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
I got it right here pulled up on our app. I'm watching it on our app, so there is other ways. It took me, 10 seconds to get it pulled up.
All right, any more discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Jim.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Nay.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Nay.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Nay.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 3 opposed. Okay. Did you have anything else, Alderman Young?
No, sir, thank you.
Alderman Dupree, do you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
Alderman Johnson?
No, sir.
Alderman Bostic?
No, sir.
Alderman Geis?
No, sir.
Alderman Bledsoe.
I have one thing, I'd like to thank Vince for getting Spike Lane blacktopped.
And Alderman Klein, did you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
And, okay.
Mayor, I do have one thing.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank everybody. When I was going through my situation, thank you for your calls and your prayers. I really appreciate it. It meant a lot to me. And that uplifted my spirits knowing that you guys were here. And to the chief down here, that man did a great job for me. He took me to the ER, and I appreciate it.
I tried to get him to go buy ambulance, but I had to get him to buy.
Well, I didn't. Hey, would I got a discount?
Yeah, you got one, but you take it.
He used one of them, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's only 500 in the truck.
Sir?
Do you have a special fee when you ride in the chief's truck?
Yeah.
A little bit higher, probably VIP. Chief Rowell, you have anything for the board, sir?
No, sir, I don't have anything tonight.
Anybody have anything for Chief Rowell? Mr. Box, you have anything?
No, sir.
Anybody have any questions, comments for Mr. Box?
Hey, where's you tonight?
Out of town.
Where is he? Fishing?
He's in Florida.
Florida? Chief Linville, you have anything for the board, sir?
I do not.
Anybody have questions or comments from Chief Linville? Mr. Drew, I know you had that big tournament rained out. I hate that. I know you hate it, and the concession man hates it.
For how long?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. The tournament did get rained out this weekend. It was a disappointment. It was going to be a big tournament. But we do have one coming up in October the 16th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's filling up good as well. There are a couple things I wanted to mention tonight. This Friday night, our Horn Lake Youth Football League has been invited to the Horn Lake High School football game and will be recognized at pregame. I would like to thank the Horn Lake High School staff and Mr. Cole Bostic for recognizing our youth sports and our Horn Lake Parks Department. So if you'd like to come out and see that, it should be a big event. Second, the Football League does start this Saturday. It'll be located at Latimer Park. So Horn Lake will be hosting the next 2 Saturdays. And finally, the best news is that we have begun sign-ups for our youth basketball program. It's been a couple years since we've had that due to COVID, so we've got approval from the school board, and we've got sign-ups going right now.
Good. Thank you for all your hard work, sir. Has the Beaver Man contacted you about the muskrats yet?
No, sir, he is not. I'll follow up with him tomorrow.
Thank you. If you're not aware, we've got muskrats over there, and of course they pose a danger to the levee on the big lake. They'll burrow into it. Anybody up here have any questions for Mr. Drew?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Mr. Drew, didn't we have like a tremendous Frisbee golf thing over at the park last week or the week before last? I was dodging Frisbees on the highway we need to hold some golf lessons or something for these folks.
We do. We've put a lot of work into both courses, actually. We've got the north course, which is close to Nell Roadside. It's on the back side of the baseball complex. It's state-of-the-art now, and a lot of that goes to 10-10 discs. They were the ones that held that tournament, right. And yes, it was a big turnout.
I was just joking about dodging it, but yeah, they looked like they were having fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Malavasi, do you have anything for the board, sir?
Mayor, just a quick update on our construction projects. The street rehab project, they are pretty much finished except for some cleanup work and a few odd ends here as far as drainage work. But I think as of today, they were supposed to finish up on Boxwood. I'm not sure if they finished because of the rain that came in this afternoon, but they should be complete the next day or two. And then I think the only other location they had was the intersection of Fleetwood and Gray Street. So they'll be wrapping that up. We'll be doing a final inspection here soon, and then give them a punch list, and hopefully be finished with that in the next few weeks. The two-lane road bridge, they have made some progress there. Not quite as fast as we had hoped, but they have put the I guess the top slab on the bridge, so therefore they're probably 75 to 80% complete at that point. And you're looking at, and talking to the contractor, he seems to think that they will be have traffic on that in the next 4 to 6 weeks. 4 at the best, 6 at the worst. But we're looking forward to getting that one finished up. But he said that the reason that they've been so slow, or not really slow, but they hadn't been up to par, in my opinion, is that basically they've had some labor issues and just hadn't been able to keep crews on working out there like they wanted to. The other thing is our street management program that we've gotten going. They should be on site this week as far as collecting the data. Once they get the data collected, they will have to do some massaging of that data to get it to us in a form that we can utilize it in our software management program. And that will probably be, by the time we get it, will probably be sometime in November for them. So.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Malavasi? Thank you for staying on top of them, Mr. Vince.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vince, I know Mr. Kimball was having a tough time with the contractor that left a lot of debris in his lot down there on Pasadena. Did that fellow ever go back and clean it up?
Yes, sir. He did. I think the issue, the last issue, he got rid of the debris first of all, but then he had to come back and put in some sod and fill in some low spots or some ruts that they had made. So.
Mr. Kimball, satisfied?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for staying on top of that, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have one question for
him.
I know we did a lot of restriping of the streets and stuff. I didn't know what was left in the money for that, or we could make another deal, but the Interstate Boulevard on the north side of Goodman going into Target, all of those lanes right there, that's all. We did the Interstate Boulevard on the south side, but I was wondering what we could do about the north side of Interstate Boulevard going into Kroger and Target up to DeSoto Road there, because all them lines are pretty much all gone right there.
Yeah, we don't have anything under contract at this point. That would have to be our next phase. We've been doing this in phases. That would have to be picked up in our next phase. But they still have not completed 100% phase 2.
Right.
And that's on Nail Road just east of 51. So they've got to get that completed and come back and also do some work at the fire stations. We're going to do, look at the parking lots that they've paved, get them restripe those.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Box, I should have asked you this. Interstate Boulevard, when it goes into the shopping center on the north side, those big holes right when you go to turn, to the right to go down to Home Depot, is that our responsibility, or is that the owner of that?
Is it on the road itself?
It's right there in the corner of the road. The road plays out right now there. It goes in, and then you can go to your left, you go to Kroger, go to your right, go to Memphis Barbecue, go straight and run right into Grand Buffet. If you look at that and just see if it's on us or on them.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's really rough. People have asked about it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I can weigh in on that. If it is north of the intersection of DeSoto Cove and Interstate Boulevard, it is beyond the public right-of-way, because that is where the public right-of-way ends there. So if you're talking about north of there, where you sort of get into the parking lots, that is not public right-of-way.
Thank you, sir. So anything north of DeSoto Cove is not ours?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. It helped me a lot. Do you have anything else, Mr. Billy?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
All right. All right. Do we have a motion to go with the closed determination?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to go into closed determination.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Who was that? Alderman Young made the second. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. You will excuse us, please. Do we have a motion to come out of executive session?
Yeah, Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Second, sir.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have any motions coming out of discussions in executive session?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I'd make a motion to approve deputy clerk appointments for Tammy Woods, Crystal Matthews, and John Oston for attendance for the Mississippi Clerk 3-year program.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have any other motions?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to approve the employee salary pay increases as presented on the pay schedule sheets for each department, with the exception of the court department, changing it to the updated sheet that was provided to Mr. Robinson, effective the first full pay period of October of 2021.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Are there any other motions? I have, if there's any other motions, before we have one to adjourn, I neglected Mr. Robinson when we were going through department heads, and I think he has some good news for the members of the board. Mr. Robinson, please.
Yeah, Mayor, I shared with the mayor Monday that we've got our next sales tax in, and I put that at your place, at your seat there. This was the sales tax for July. You'll see it came in at $636,677, which is $134,339 more than this time last year. So it was a very good July. Hopefully it was a bunch of back-to-school sales and everything else. But you can see I also included the year-to-date budget report that shows sales tax at $6,925,868. And I will remind you, I've said this before, sometimes that's a little deceiving because we also have the drinking water loan bonds, which our sales tax comes right off the top to pay those. So about $266,688 is used out of that to pay our drinking water loans. We have 3 different drinking water loans, which you don't see in here. It's actually down in the utility department. But that is a good amount there for sales tax. But I did want to mention that we do have that $266,688 that we pay every year, or $699 for the drinking water loans. But that's you'll see that's almost $7 million in sales tax.
That is very good news, and we want to thank our merchants and the people who invest in Horn Lake, and we want to thank our citizens for shopping local. And we'll take money from the people out of the city limits that come in here. Thank them too. Are there any other motions?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis to adjourn. We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Mr. Robinson, could you please do the roll call?
Yes, sir. Alderman Klein?
What? Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe? We can stay here. Alderman Geis? Alderman Bostic? Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
Alderman Dupree?
Aye.
Alderman Young?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. It's pumpkin time.